First Contact, First Blood. The Galactic Confederation's Combat Academy hung in orbit around the neutron star Vega 9, a gleaming monument to interstellar warfare that housed the finest warriors from 200 civilizations. Its titanium alloy corridors hummed with the sounds of exotic weaponry and the footfalls of beings evolved for conquest. The Academy represented the pinnacle of martial prowess, accepting only the most exceptional candidates from across known space. Admiral Jorak, a 9-foot-tall Centaurian with chitinous armor and compound eyes that reflected the harsh lighting of the observation deck, watched the approaching Earth shuttle with all 4 of his primary appendages folded in the gesture his species used to express skepticism. "They're so fragile," he commented, mandibles clicking softly as the craft docked. I reviewed their biological scans. No natural armor. No specialized killing appendages. Dull teeth. Weak muscles by our standards. What convinced the Council to admit them? Commander Illyra, his Arcadian second-in-command, flicked her luminescent tentacles in the pattern that indicated amusement. Politics, I imagine. Their solar system contains unusually high concentrations of rare elements. The Council likely hopes to curry favor. The airlock cycled open, and the first human delegation to ever set foot in the Academy emerged. 5 of them, wearing the standard navy blue uniforms given to all first-year cadets. They looked almost comically ordinary compared to the collection of evolutionary nightmares that populated the Academy's halls. "Which one is their champion?" Jorak asked, scanning the group with practiced eyes. "Third from the left. The female, Maya Chen." The Admiral focused on the indicated human. Average height by their standards, perhaps 5'7". Athletic build, but nothing that suggested exceptional strength. Short black hair framed a face that seemed permanently set in an expression of calm observation. Of all the unremarkable specimens, she appeared the most unremarkable. "This is a waste of resources," Jorak clicked dismissively. "They won't survive the first challenge." Throughout the Academy, news of the humans' arrival spread with the efficiency of a military operation. In the cadets' mess hall, species from across the galaxy gathered to catch glimpses of the newcomers as they navigated the automated food dispensers with cautious curiosity. At the center table, a position reserved for the Academy's elite, sat Krasol, scion of the Vexnar Dominion. 8 feet of corded muscle covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with his moods. Currently, they displayed a deep purple of contemptuous amusement. The Vexnar had evolved as apex predators on a death world, with 3 times Earth's gravity and an atmosphere rich in methane. Their natural weapons included retractable talons capable of shredding battle armor and a bite force that could crush titanium. "Fresh meat," Krasol rumbled, his 4 eyes tracking the humans as they found seats in a corner of the vast hall. Quite literally. His coterie of followers, lesser predator species who had aligned themselves with the strongest, erupted in hissing laughter. "The tradition demands it," said Thrix, a serpentine draconian whose species had once been bitter enemies of the Vexnar before being thoroughly subjugated. "All new species must be properly welcomed." Krasol rose to his full height, scales shifting to a brilliant crimson that signaled dominance display. The mess hall fell silent as he strode toward the human table. Behind him, hidden monitoring systems alerted the Academy instructors to the impending confrontation, not that they would interfere. The Academy's philosophy held that actual combat provided the most efficient learning environment. Maya Chen saw him coming. While her companions tensed visibly, she simply set down her fork and turned to face the approaching predator. Her heart rate increased by 12%, the only physiological sign of stress her body betrayed. Krasol loomed over their table, his massive shadow engulfing the humans. "I am Krasol, First Blade of the Vexnar Dominion, and champion of this academy for 3 cycles, he announced, the translator implants rendering his guttural language into standard Galactic. "Our traditions require that newcomers demonstrate their worthiness." One of the other humans, a tall male, started to rise. "We understand the tradition." Maya's hand shot out, lightly touching his wrist. "I'll handle this, Jason." Her voice was calm, almost conversational. She stood, appearing absurdly small before the Vexnar warrior. "I am Cadet Maya Chen of Earth. I accept your challenge." A ripple of shocked murmurs swept through the hall. Even Krasvol's scales flickered briefly to yellow, surprise, before returning to aggressive crimson. "You?" He circled her slowly, talons extending and retracting. "Not your largest male." "I'm our designated representative," she said simply. Krasvol's jaw distended in the Vexnar equivalent of a smile, revealing 4 rows of serrated teeth. "Combat arena. 2 rotations from now. Full contact, traditional rules." He leaned closer, his breath hot against her face. "Your medical team should prepare for reconstruction work." Maya nodded once. "I'll be there." As Krasvol stalked away, the other human cadets erupted in urgent whispers. "Maya, what the hell?" Jason hissed. "That thing is twice your size, with natural weapons." The briefing said these challenge matches sometimes end in fatalities. Maya's eyes remained on Krasvol's retreating form. "I know exactly what he is." In the hours that followed, word of the challenge spread throughout the academy. Vetting pools formed instantly, with odds against the human reaching absurd proportions. The academy's xenobiologists gathered in their lab, reviewing human physiological data with newfound interest. They evolved on a planet with only 1g gravity, noted senior xenobiologist T'Prol, her delicate fingers gesturing at the holographic display. "Oxygen breathers with relatively low muscle density." "What's curious," replied her colleague, manipulating the display to show a neural scan, "is their nervous system, unusually complex pain processing, and their adrenal response is interesting." Regardless, T'Prol concluded, Cadet Chen has a 0.037% probability of survival, let alone victory. I scheduled the medical bay for immediate post-combat reconstruction. Meanwhile, in the private quarters assigned to the human delegation, Maya sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, breathing controlled. The other humans surrounded her, their faces masks of concern. "You need to withdraw," urged Dr. Eliza Warren, their medical officer. "We've reviewed the combat footage of Krasvol. He's killed 3 opponents in official matches. Can't withdraw," Maya replied without opening her eyes. "First impressions matter. If humans become known as cowards who back down from challenges, we'll never gain respect." "Better alive cowards than dead heroes," Jason muttered. Maya opened her eyes then, and something in her gaze made the others fall silent. "Do you know why I was selected for this mission?" None answered. "It wasn't my combat scores, though they were the highest. It wasn't my tactical assessments, though those were exceptional." She stood in a single, fluid motion. "It was my psychological profile. Specifically, my abnormal threat response pattern." Dr. Warren frowned. "Your file was classified beyond my clearance." "There's a reason for that." Maya moved to her locker and removed a small case. From it, she extracted what appeared to be standard contact lenses. "I need to prepare. Alone." After the others had left, Maya inserted the lenses, neural interfaces connected to the tactical computer embedded at the base of her skull. A wealth of data flooded her vision. Vexnar anatomical weak points, combat pattern analyses, stress response triggers. What the Galactic Confederation didn't know, what even her fellow cadets didn't know, was that Maya Chen was the product of Earth's classified Sentinel program. While humanity portrayed itself as a peaceful, diplomatic species, eager to join the galactic community, its military strategists had been preparing for worst-case scenarios since first contact. In the circular combat arena, 2 rotations later, spectators filled every available space. Academy staff, cadets from all years, even visiting dignitaries packed the viewing galleries. None wanted to miss what promised to be either a historic first encounter or a spectacularly brief slaughter. Krasvol entered first, his scales now a gleaming gold of confidence. He carried no weapons, The Vexnar considered their natural armaments superior to any manufactured tool. The crowd roared its approval as he raised all four arms in a victory salute before the battle had even begun. Then Maya entered. She wore the standard combat uniform. Flexible bodysuit designed to provide minimal protection while allowing maximum mobility. No weapons, no armor, just a 5'7" human female facing a biological killing machine. "I will make it quick," Krashul announced, his voice carrying across the arena. "Out of respect for your courage, if not your wisdom." Maya simply nodded and assumed a neutral stance, hands open at her sides. Admiral Jorak, observing from the command box, activated his neural link to the Academy's betting system. 5,000 credits on the Vexnar. Victory within 30 seconds. The signal to begin came in the form of a resonating tone that vibrated through the arena. Krashul charged immediately, covering the distance between them with frightening speed. His right talons extended for a disemboweling strike that had ended matches. And lives. Before. Maya wasn't there. She moved with a quickness that seemed impossible for her species, sidestepping the charge with millimeters to spare. Krashul's momentum carried him past her, and as he turned, her hand snapped out in a precision strike to a nerve cluster beneath his left arm. Pain. Unexpected, shocking pain, lanced through the Vexnar's side. The crowd fell silent. "First blood to the human," announced the automated referee system. Krashul's scales flashed to deep blue, confusion mixed with the first stirrings of concern. He circled more cautiously now, reassessing. "Interesting," Maya said, her voice carrying in the silence. "Your species has a neurovascular vulnerability at the tertiary arm joint, just like the xenobiology text suggested." The Vexnar's eyes narrowed. Something was very wrong. This was not how prey behaved. His next attack came with greater control, a feint followed by a sweeping tail strike designed to shatter legs. Maya jumped, impossibly high for a being from a Wonju world, somersaulting over the tail and landing behind him. Two more rapid strikes to nerve clusters along his spine sent shockwaves of pain through his massive frame. In the observation deck, Admiral Jorak's compound eyes widened. "What am I seeing?" he demanded. Commander Illyra's tentacles were rigid with shock. "I cannot explain this. The human is moving with reflexes that exceed our understanding of their species' capabilities." Below, the battle had transformed from expected slaughter to something unprecedented. Krashul, now fighting with the full deadly arsenal of his evolutionary heritage, could not land a significant blow on the human. She moved like water around his strikes, each of her counterattacks precisely targeted to exploit vulnerabilities that should have been unknown to her species. As a final desperate gambit, Krashul engaged his species' ultimate hunting adaptation, a full chromatophore shift that rendered him nearly invisible against the arena floor. It was a technique that had never failed him. Maya simply closed her eyes. The crowd held its collective breath as Krashul circled silently, now visible only as the faintest distortion in the air. He positioned himself behind her, muscles coiled for a killing leap. The human spun at the exact moment he launched, dropping low and driving the heel of her hand upward into the soft underside of his jaw with such precision and force that the crack of bone echoed through the arena. Krashul crashed to the ground, scales shifting chaotically through pain colors as he struggled to rise. Maya stood over him, not pressing her advantage. "Do you yield?" she asked quietly. For one long moment, the entire academy seemed frozen in collective shock. Then Krashul's scales settled on white, the Vexnar signal of submission. "I yield," he managed through his damaged jaw. As the medical teams rushed in, Admiral Jorak turned to Commander Illyra. "Cancel all my appointments," he ordered. "I need to send an urgent communication to the Confederation Council." "Sir." The Admiral's compound eyes fixed on the small human female who had just rewritten everything they thought they knew about her species. "We may have severely underestimated what we've invited into our galaxy." Apex redefined. The Academy's medical bay buzzed with unprecedented activity. In one chamber, A team of xenobiologists hovered around Croswell, their appendages working frantically to repair his shattered jaw and the surprisingly extensive internal damage. In another, Maya Chen sat perfectly still as Dr. Warren ran a medical scanner over her seemingly unmarked body. Slightly elevated cortisol, minor muscle fatigue in your right shoulder, otherwise perfect, Dr. Warren reported, unable to keep the astonishment from her voice. How is this possible? He outweighed you by over 200 kilograms. Maya's eyes remained fixed on a point in the distance. Mass is irrelevant if it can't connect. Through the transparent divider, they could see Admiral Jorak and a delegation of senior Academy officials gathered around a holoprojection of the combat footage, replaying key moments with intense focus. Their body language, regardless of how alien their forms, clearly conveyed bewilderment. They're reevaluating everything they thought they knew about us, Maya observed quietly. Jason leaned against the wall, arms crossed. That was the point, wasn't it? This wasn't just about surviving the challenge. Maya nodded once. First impressions matter. The door slid open, admitting Commander Illyra. Her luminescent tentacles pulsed in patterns that the human translators struggled to interpret, complex emotional states without neat human equivalents. The Academy Council requests Cadet Chen's presence, she announced, all four of her eyes fixed on Maya with undisguised curiosity. Immediately, as Maya followed the commander through corridors suddenly hushed at her approach, alien cadets pressed against walls to give her a wide berth. Word had spread through the Academy with quantum efficiency. The human had defeated Croswell. The impossible had occurred. The council chamber was a circular room dominated by a massive table of polished asteroid metal. Seated around it were the 9 senior administrators, representatives of the founding species of the Galactic Confederation. Admiral Jorak occupied the central position, his chidnous exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber's bright lights. Cadet Chen, he began, mandibles clicking in a rhythm that indicated formal address. You have created quite a situation. Maya stood at attention, hands clasped behind her back. I responded to a formal challenge according to Academy protocols. Admiral. Indeed. A holographic display activated above the table, showing the final moments of the combat. What interests us is how you responded. Your species file, provided by your Earth governments, classifies humans as persistence hunters with moderate strength and reflexes. Obviously, this information was incomplete. Maya's expression remained neutral. With respect, Admiral, we provided accurate biological data. I am not physically exceptional by human standards. Then explain, demanded a draconian counselor, scales bristling, how you anticipated movements too fast for most species to perceive. Pattern recognition, Maya replied simply. Humans excel at it. I studied recordings of previous Vexnar combat. Their attacks follow evolutionary programming, predictable once you understand the underlying patterns. This caused a ripple of communication among the council members, some verbal, others pheromonal or telepathic. And your knowledge of Vexnar physiological vulnerabilities. Pressed Admiral Jorak. Standard xenobiology. Available in your own Academy database. Maya paused, then added, humans are thorough in our preparation. We compensate for physical limitations with knowledge and strategy. The Admiral's compound eyes reflected the light in fractured patterns. I have communicated with your Earth government. They have authorized me to request your complete file. His mandibles clicked in what might have been admiration. It seems there is more to your selection than we were initially told. Maya remained silent for a long moment, weighing her options. The council chamber waited with the collective tension of apex predators, sensing something dangerous in their midst. 3 years ago, she finally said, I died for 6 minutes. The translator implant struggled momentarily with the concept before conveying it to the assembled aliens. I was mountain climbing in a region of Earth called the Himalayas. An avalanche. When they revived me, something had changed. Maya's eyes met the Admiral's compound gaze without flinching. Human neurology is remarkably plastic. My brain rewired itself during those 6 minutes without oxygen. The result was a condition called tactical response syndrome. Explain, demanded the Arcadian counselor, tentacles rigid with attention. In moments of extreme stress, I perceive time differently. My neural processing accelerates beyond normal human parameters. What you saw wasn't superhuman speed, it was superhuman perception and decision-making. The holographic display changed to show neural scans, Maya's brain during combat compared to baseline human patterns. The difference was striking even to non-specialists. One human in approximately 30 million develops this syndrome after near-death experiences. Maya continued. Earth's military identified and recruited us. We're rare, but not unique. The council chamber erupted in multilingual discussion. Admiral Jorak raised a limb for silence. You are telling us, he said slowly, that Earth has a program of combat specialists with neurological advantages, and you deliberately concealed this information. Maya straightened to her full height, still unimpressive by galactic standards, yet somehow filling the room with her presence. Admiral, every species in this room evolved deadly natural weapons, armor, or physiological advantages. Humanity evolved pattern recognition, problem-solving, and adaptability. Those are our natural weapons. Her voice remained calm, but carried an edge of steel. Did you really expect us to venture into space unprepared? In the recovery ward, Krashul regained consciousness to find his second-in-command, Fricks, waiting beside his medical platform. The council is meeting with the human, Fricks reported, his serpentine body coiled tensely. The academy is in chaos. The betting syndicates have collapsed. Krashul's scales had settled into a muted gray, the color of deep contemplation. The medical reconstructors had repaired his jaw, but speaking remained painful. She knew, he said finally, the words hissing through partially healed tissue. Every vulnerable point, every reflex pattern. His outer eyelids closed slowly. She was hunting me. Fricks's tongue flicked nervously. The instructors are saying it was some form of advanced analysis. Pattern recognition. No. Krashul's scales rippled briefly to deep red. Not aggression this time, but a new emotion unfamiliar to his species. I saw her eyes when she asked if I yielded. She wasn't calculating. She was enjoying it. While the Academy administration grappled with the implications of Maya's revelation, the human cadets found themselves in an unexpected position. The same mess hall where they had been objects of derision now fell silent when they entered, alien eyes tracking their movements with new wariness. This is awkward, Jason muttered as they collected their food rations. I preferred being underestimated. No, you didn't, Maya replied calmly. None of us did. That's why we're here. They took seats at a central table, a position that would have been unthinkable before the combat. No one challenged their right to it. What happens now? Asked Sarah, the youngest of their group. The whole harmless newcomer's cover is blown. Maya surveyed the room, noting how even the largest predator species were giving their table a wide berth. Now we demonstrate that we're more than just fighters. The Academy tests more than combat skills. The engineering trials next week, Jason nodded. The battlefield adaptability scenarios. Exactly. Today they learned humans can fight. Next, they learn we can build, adapt, solve problems they haven't considered. Maya's gaze fixed on a distant point, as if seen beyond the Academy walls to a future only she could perceive. By the time our full delegation arrives next cycle, the Confederation will understand precisely what humanity brings to the galaxy. 3 days later, Krashul, still bearing the marks of his defeat but fully mobile, entered the human quarters unannounced. Maya was alone, reviewing holographic tactical simulations. She closed the display as he entered, but made no move to stand. The medical team did good work, she observed. Your jaw has healed well. The massive Vexnar remained by the door, his posture conveying uncertainty, an emotion his species rarely experienced and had few cultural protocols for handling. Why did you not kill me? He asked directly. You had the opportunity. Maya studied him for a long moment. That wasn't the objective. For my species, it would have been. The elimination of a superior rival is evolutionary imperative. Humans evolved differently. We formed cooperative groups, turned rivals into allies when possible. She gestured to a seat designed for non-human physiologies. Sometimes, surviving together is more advantageous than destroying each other. Krasvul hesitated, then folded his massive frame into the offered seat. His scales shifted slowly through thoughtful colors before settling on a deep blue tinged with green. A combination Maya couldn't interpret. "The Council has requested my evaluation of human combat potential," he said. "They believe I now have unique insight." Maya allowed herself a small smile. "And what will you tell them?" The Vexinar's 4 eyes fixed on her with new respect. That understanding humans requires reconsidering what makes a species dangerous. His jaw distended slightly, the Vexinar version of a contemplative frown. "We evolved to kill with natural weapons. You evolved to turn anything into a weapon, including knowledge itself. A fair assessment." Krasvul leaned forward, dropping his voice to a rumble. "There are factions in the Confederation who will see humanity as a threat after this. Species who believe in preemptive action against potential rivals. I know. You intended this. From the beginning. It wasn't a question." Maya met his gaze steadily. Better to be respected than underestimated. Better to be feared than targeted. First impressions matter, Krasvul. The Vexinar warrior was silent for a long moment. Then his scales shifted to a color Maya had never seen in the combat arena, a deep, iridescent purple that seemed to absorb light. "The Vexinar have a concept," he said slowly. "Threkva, the worthy adversary who becomes more valuable as an ally than a conquest." Maya nodded. "Humans have similar concepts. I will tell the Council that humans should be considered Threkva. Not to be underestimated, but not to be feared unnecessarily." He rose to his full height. "And I will request assignment as combat training partner to your delegation." Maya stood as well, extending her hand in the human gesture of agreement. After a moment's hesitation, Krasvul extended one massive talon to carefully complete the handshake. "The Academy survival course begins next week," he said, mandibles clicking in what might have been anticipation. "Harsh environments, limited resources, cooperative objectives. Sounds like home." Maya replied with the first genuine smile since her arrival. 2 cycles later, the Galactic News Network's headline projection flashed across information terminals throughout Confederation space. "Unan Purecednt, Human VXNARTM, CTs NEUACADEM Wait Reciority in Survivals, HLENG." The accompanying image showed Maya Chen and Krasvul standing side by side, battered but triumphant against a backdrop of the Academy's infamous Death World simulation. The caption noted that the human had carried the injured Vexinar the final kilometer after atmospheric toxins had temporarily paralyzed his respiratory system. In the Confederation Council's secure chamber, the debate about humanity's role in galactic affairs continued with renewed urgency. "They conceal their true capabilities," argued the draconian representative. "This indicates hostile intent." "They adapted to our challenge," countered the Arcadian diplomat. "This indicates survival instinct, not aggression." Admiral Jorak, who had become an unexpected advocate for human integration, activated a holographic display showing training footage from the Academy. It depicted human and alien cadets working together, each contributing unique evolutionary advantages to solve complex problems. "What makes humans dangerous is not their hidden strengths," he told the Council. "It is their ability to recognize and utilize the strengths of others. They do not conquer, they incorporate." In the Academy's observation deck, Maya stood beside Krasvul, watching the arrival of the second human delegation. 50 cadets this time, each selected for different specialized abilities. Below them, alien instructors prepared for an orientation unlike any they had conducted before. "They still fear what they do not understand," Krajl observed, his scales shifting through thoughtful colors. Maya's eyes remained on the approaching transport. Fear can be useful when it leads to respect rather than hostility. And what happens when the Confederation discovers that not all humans share your diplomatic intentions? The same thing that happens with every species, Maya replied calmly. We find common ground where possible and prepare for conflict where necessary. Krajl's scales rippled with something like amusement. You humans have a saying I've studied. Keep your friends close, and your enemies closer. Maya finished. An ancient human strategist named Sun Tzu, but there's another principle he taught that's more important. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. The Vexnar warrior considered this, then extended his main hand. Maya clasped it firmly. Two worthy adversaries, he rumbled. And valuable allies, she added. Below them, the next chapter in humanity's galactic integration began. Built on a foundation of respect, born from the day, a human cadet showed the Academy's greatest predator what it felt like to be prey.